Okay, another game. I'm quite pleased with this one. It was a pretty quick game, but the enemy very clearly thought that they were pretty good. And yet, I think I did pretty well against them. It was the French being slightly my nemesis because of that ability to field very strong cannons late game. I think I made one error in this game that was an obvious error. I mean, people might be able to see other kind of things I did wrong, but certainly one error I made, I'll point it out, I was very aware of. And I'll just explain as well. What I did is I followed my kind of own advice, which is to put everyone on food and then immediately kind of get 2 on gold very early. So we're 1 minute 21 in. 2 on gold from 1 minute 21 in is about all you need, and then everyone else on food. 1 villager on wood to ensure that you'll end up getting a house and not delaying population growth. And then that's pretty much it. Scout coming in with the sheep. Again, as I say, I'm pretty pleased with how this went, to be honest. So I'll just speed her up a little bit. For a minute, everyone else is as I said before, on food until you get that feudal age landmark, and then as many people on that feudal age landmark as you think you can afford to spare. I put 6 on currently. Again, obviously only putting on people that are close by, so you're not wasting too much time on the actual simple walk from wherever they are to the landmark. Kind of every second counts, especially for me early game, because I only really create troops in Castle Age, and I'm just trying to survive early age. As soon as that's built, I'm getting someone on stone. So again, not quite as early as perhaps some people do, but still pretty early, getting people on stone to get that military school built, which is important. It was a 15-minute game, so pretty quick, especially by my standards. And I wouldn't normally expect a game to last only 15 minutes. I certainly don't think that even if you're down in about 15 minutes, it's normally possible, unless you're completely kind of. It's normally possible to continue going, and maybe you're at a bit of a disadvantage. But I think it's a bit unsportsmanlike if you consider this a sport to just quit out. Okay, and they're starting to raid. They're pretty strong in their raiding, to be honest. Royal Knights, French, that's standard. What's I think really important, and what I did fairly well, is yes, they're raiding, but I don't kind of retreat straight away and then kind of stay there. I do continue. Obviously I need gold, right? And should have put this outpost up earlier, obviously. Retrospectively perhaps that would have been more sensible, but I don't. Yes, they take out some villages, but I think the important thing is not to keep as soon as they're doing quite well and kind of turning around, retreating, attacking, retreating, attacking, retreating, attacking, and that's really annoying for the defender, but it's actually equally important for me as a defender to do basically the same thing, to make sure I end up getting the outpost ready to use the spearmen I've got from the military academy to kind of push them off a little bit. Yes, it's not gonna solve the situation completely, but it helps. It helps on the margins. I've now got a tower, an outpost built there. I'm building up another military school. In terms of income per minute, let's have a look. They're doing better than me on most things. Yeah. The other thing that I found quite annoying is sometimes when you click to garrison the outpost, if it's got a slight bit of damage on it, they'll just go and repair it, which is actually really annoying. Don't know where he's going. Oh, I know where he's going. I tell him to go and create another mine up here, quite close to their camp, but obviously I can't go here, that would be crazy, and I think it's a bit silly to try and run the gauntlet and try and mine somewhere over here. So just sending a guy. The other added bonus is that it gives me a little bit more line of sight up here. Oh, one other thing I do a little bit wrong is I don't, for some reason I'm not scouting out these territories I haven't used my scout to see yet. That's a very minor point. I'm pretty quick. Obviously I've lost a spearman there, it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty quick to garrison my units and then to bring some arrows to bear on the knights, and then I'm pretty quick again to ungarrison, which is equally important. The one thing I do wrong, which I'll show you in a minute, is I put the next stage. I've obviously, I haven't given myself enough space around near my town centre to put the next landmark, and so I kind of push it out here a little bit, and then that turns out to have been a poor decision. It does turn out to have been a poor decision. Like, there we are. It's too far out, and then they immediately, I don't know whether that's luck or they notice it or what, but they immediately go for it. I think it's luck. They then immediately start taking out my villages. Fair play. They're doing quite well in that, and it's very annoying. Again, I don't give up, but it is annoying, and that is my mistake. It would have been much more sensible to put it like here, just in line, so that the town centre can defend. It's far too far out of the way, and I'm losing a lot of villagers trying to build it. I'm also being a bit slow with retreating. So definitely lessons to be learned. Lessons to be learned on that. I kind of do a bit of defensive work with some spearmen, which does help. For some reason they retreat, because they're very low health. And that does actually help quite a lot. It gives me a little bit of kind of breathing space to create that next stage and move into the next stage. I then just don't bother putting them back on stone, really. I just put them to work directly on food, which is definitely the priority at the moment, especially as, look at that, they're on about 800, I'm on about 100, it's not good. Another priority is archery range. I should have probably built that before moving into the next stage, but nevertheless, definite priority for now. Start to build the janissaries as soon as I can. There you go, as soon as it's built, building janissaries. Again, janissaries are strong against cavalry, so definitely need to build as many janissaries as possible, as soon as possible, as soon as you're in Castle Age. Also, another upgrade to the pikemen wouldn't hurt. I don't know if I actually do that. So at this point, probably about equal, doing fairly well. I've created a decent number of military schools fairly early. I've moved them over from spearmen to man-at-arms. Man-at-arms are just stronger in my view and just more useful. Spearmen are kind of useful, maybe early game, to kind of push off. I missed this, to be completely honest. I missed their attack there. I was going to go and try and take out the scout with some spearmen, but the scout moves and they attack. I'm kind of a little bit late to that situation, really. Again, I've also waited a long time and I haven't bothered using my own scout. I do now to do some scouting. This guy's happy mining away. They take out the gold mine. I don't bother trying to defend it. There's no real point. Just creating some houses down here. Possibly another small error. I potentially could have created them a little bit close, maybe here or something. I don't know. I'm quietly confident that my little force here is going to, if they do try and attack, which they now do, as long as I'm quick with moving them into the garrison, which I'm not too bad on, I'm now quietly confident that it's going to be a fairly balanced fight. Pikemen and Janissaries against the cavalry, which is a nice matchup for me, and then I just need to deal with the archers. I'm not very effective with the old scout in this game, to be honest, as you can see. Now I'm very much aware last game I've moved in too early, and so I don't want to. Yes, I've taken out the force, and it's very often the case that I'll kind of push after taking out a force, but for me it's still too early. 14 minutes in, really still just a little bit early. I would like to have a more significant force than this. This is pretty small to do a kind of full-on push. So I'm aware, you know, it's a good player, I'm not going to lie, they've been raiding quite nicely, so I'm a little bit concerned about the number of people that are ending up on these trees. Building a little outpost there will help that situation. If I was just going all out aggressive, that would be a waste of wood, but I'm not, I'm being a bit defensive. I would also, yeah, with this outpost, I think I already have put the springboard emplacement on there, which should help. And I'm kind of trying to upgrade as much as possible. I'm starting to build all the farms. I then noticed that one guy, and I presume it's a small force, so I go for it. Again, it's quite a nice matchup. Got the mangonel now to do some damage against the archers. And if you see, I'll slow it right down now so I can actually have a look. But they think they're pretty good, right? Built an outpost there, starting to gather troops up, and they're starting to take on the ideal spot, which is my gold mines, to attack. I'll just pause it, otherwise they're going to basically rage quit, and I won't be able to see anything else. So what I'm doing now is taking on the outpost with my mangonel, whilst also retreating a little bit with these units. I've essentially, I would suggest, won this fight, but I don't want to particularly lose any units to this outpost, so I'm just retreating slightly out of the way. Mangonel can attack the outpost without getting any damage as far as I can see. If you just look at the range of that, that's looking good for me. In terms of income per minute, I'm a bit down, but that should sort itself out once these farms are up and running. I'm starting to kind of dominate the map, but again, this isn't. I'm not going to kind of deny it that this enemy, I think, is probably pretty good. They, you know, in a future game they could very much win against me, but apart from one or two little mistakes, I've done fairly well. And yeah. Is there anything else I want to have a check on? Yeah, I want to check the population. This is me, 47 villagers and 18 military units. For them, 46 and 10 military units. So it's pretty close, frankly. And they have some resources with which they could still be creating units. So it was a pretty close game. I think they basically rage quit because they are annoyed that I'm not as kind of weak as they thought I was going to be. But yeah, good game. I just play it out. There you go. Oh.